My dear friends, the Torah tells us that when Moses and Aaron walked up to Pharaoh for the first time to say those famous words, "Let my people go," Pharaoh looked at Moses and Aaron and said, "What are you doing here? Go back home. Why are you wasting your time?" The commentaries explain that Pharaoh's question was very simple. He looked at Moses and Aaron and said, most of the Jewish people, it's true, they're subject to brutal conditions. They're enslaved. People are being murdered. People are being hurt. But you, Moses and Aaron, you're part of that special tribe called the tribe of Levi. The tribe of Levi were not subject to those conditions. The tribe of Levi were allowed, so to speak, they were the rabbis, the princes amongst Israel. Even Pharaoh recognized that, and they were allowed to sit in the study hall and study. Why are you wasting your time? Who knows what my reaction could be? Maybe I'll subject you to the same conditions that your brothers are put under. Why are you doing this? Why are you going out of your way for a problem that's seemingly not your own? And clearly Pharaoh didn't understand the true nature of the Jewish nation, the nature of the Jewish people is that we care for each other. It's one community. It's one nation. And my dear friends, throughout history, you look throughout all of Jewish history, through thick and thin, through good times and not such good times, that sense of community, that sense of one nation always existed in a very, very strong and powerful way. Let's take two examples from recent history. The Jewish shtetl in Europe. What a sense of community. How beautiful. I mean, it was definitely, in a way, brutal conditions. Livelihood wasn't a very easy thing to come to. But in terms of community, in terms of people living together, it was so beautiful. You wake up in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock, and you see the local klapper is walking from house to house. The klapper is the man whose job it was to bang on the window of every home and make sure that the husbands got home, the men of the home got up in time to go to synagogue for study and prayer. He was like the town alarm clock. You walk a little further and you see children playing, the first few children coming out in the yards. You see the chickens are waking up the people. You see the more intellectuals are sitting in the local tavern and they're reading the paper. The local thief is going to sleep after a long, hard night's work. The local pickpocketer is getting up, getting ready for a long day on the marketplace. If you walk into the synagogue, you see the rabbis finishing off the early morning class with those 10, 11 people who get up for early morning Talmud. And you see children playing and people are getting up. It's a real beautiful sense. And obviously there was always the conversation. Psst, did you hear? Yentl got engaged to Muddle. And the whole discussion. But then Friday afternoon, no matter what your job was, whether you were the pickpocketer, whether you were the thief or the rabbi or the barber or the milkman, you went home Friday afternoon, you got dressed in your finest clothing. Your family got dressed in the finest clothing. You walked to the synagogue for evening services on Shabbat. You came home to a beautiful set table for the Shabbat meal, and obviously you brought home a few guests. What a beautiful environment. What a beautiful sight. And obviously, in difficult moments, when the community were expecting a pogrom or the like, which unfortunately happened too many times, all the women and children were brought into one home or a few homes throughout the town, and all the men were there to guard. They stuck together. And more recent, my father always tells me the story in the late 40s, when many Jewish people escaped from Russia, posing as Polish citizens in about 1947, 48. There were a few people who dedicated themselves, their lives, so to speak, to help Jewish people escape from Russia. My father was a young child. It was three, my father and two siblings at home alone. Their mother had passed away years earlier. The father was out at work. 3 orphans sitting at home, alone without parents. And in walks one of these people who was so involved in helping Jews leave Russia and move out to a better life, to a better situation. He walks in and he sees these 3 children. It touches him so deeply that at that moment he promised himself, no matter what, I'm getting them out. And these are people who later were eventually caught and put for years and years in prison. For what? Not for something they did for themselves, but for, so to speak, a crime that they did helping other people, helping them escape, caring for them so deeply that they put their own lives on the line to make sure they have a better life. My dear friend, that sense of community, that never left the Jewish people. We are feeling it here more and more in our community here in Snohomish County. What we experienced as a community over the past 6 months is nothing less than remarkable. The growth that we experienced, the Shabbat services, the support that we've received is something so special. And I think beyond it all, above it all, the greatest feeling is that sense of community that we're recreating. That feeling of one community when we get together. People know each other. People are getting to experience each other. People care for each other. That is the deepest and most beautiful feeling that we can have. And it's only because of every single one of us in our community who care so deeply and support so generously that make this happen, has helped us achieve so much in the past few months, and we could aspire for so much more in the coming years to come. I'd like to thank you so much. Goldie and I appreciate your support, whether it's financial support or getting involved and helping out with events. Together, we are creating that shtetl. We are creating that community which always existed here in our area, in our little town. What could be more beautiful than that? Thank you so much.